We're switching it up a bit this week. We're going to talk a little archery, a little turkey hunting. We have an awesome guest on today's podcast. We welcome on Dave Nelson from Whale-Tales Archery. Dave, how's it going?
It's going, man. I wish it was a little bit warmer. The cold weather's coming. It's slowing down the turkeys a little bit, but it's going.
I think we're all sick of the cold by now.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be pretty warm tomorrow, isn't it?
It's supposed to damn near 60.
It's supposed to be warm tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow I think Friday, and then if you look ahead next week, they're already calling for snow.
Oh my God,
Lord. That's the last thing I wanted to hear.
Wisconsin weather is.
It's Wisconsin though.
Yeah, for real.
That's what we get for living here. So, let's get a little backstory. Where are you from?
I'm from Waukesha, Wisconsin, so southeast, kind of right between Milwaukee and Madison.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what got you into the outdoors? So you work at an archery shop. You're big into hunting. What got you into the outdoors?
Well, I think just like any of us that are pretty hardcore into it, my dad.
Oh, for sure.
Dad kind of got me into it, but what's kind of funny is my dad was just a pheasant hunter.
Really?
So yeah, all I knew growing up was pheasant hunting, and it wasn't until I was 12. Actually, one of my good buddies, I played hockey, and one of my good buddies on the hockey team had a bunch of land up north and is a diehard deer hunter, and he goes, "Man, you're from Wisconsin and you don't even deer hunt?" And I'm like, no. And he's like, "Well, you got to come up with me." So I started going up with him a little bit before I even owned a bow, and I kind of fell in love with the deer hunting a little bit. Next year, got a bow for Christmas, and it was all downhill from there.
Expensive sport, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's never ending.
So you got the archery shop. You work at the archery shop. How long has the archery shop been around for?
Archery shop's been around since 2010.
Okay.
If I'm right, since 2010 it opened.
Okay. Is it all archery, or do you guys have some other outdoor stuff, accessories or whatnot?
Yeah, it's an archery pro shop, but we carry Sitka, bunch of different game calls, Kenetrek boots. We're starting to kind of cater more towards not just your Midwest hunters, but a lot of your Western hunters too.
Okay, cool.
That's that's been a big trend the last few years is elk hunting and going out west, and all the guys at the shop love going out west. So there's not many places you can get that kind of gear without just ordering it online, and not really knowing what you're getting until you see it. Spend the money.
Have you ever gone elk hunting? Have you ever tried it out?
I've never shot one. I went out, it would have been 2 years ago. I went out to Montana with a few of the guys from the shop, and I was actually a camera guy.
Oh,
that's
nice.
awesome.
And
nice.
I was pretty hooked. I mean, for me, turkey hunting, I live for turkey hunting. So the closest thing there is, I think, is elk hunting. That elk is just a giant turkey with 4 legs. I'm not kidding, man. You hunt them, it's almost the same. Just that run and gun, trying to cut them off, call them in. You listen for bugle just like you would a gobble. And we didn't get one, but we were about as close as you could get 2 or 3 times.
Were you hunting? Were you hunting public land out there?
Yeah, it was all public land, and we camped for, I think it was 12 days.
That's cool.
Wow, nice. You go unguided there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
That's cool.
Nice. Yeah, it was a good time.
Very cool. So at the archery shop, do you guys have a range there?
Yeah. Yep. So it's an indoor. I said it's a pro shop. We do all the service as well, and we've got a 40-yard indoor range, and it's 40 yards from downstairs. We've got an upstairs too, and it stretches. If you really wanted to shoot, corner to corner, it's about 46, 47 yards. If you really wanted to push it.
For sure.
But it's 40 yards deep, and oh God, we usually always have about anywhere from 25 to 30 3D targets out there. From there's a moose, there's 2 elk, mule deer, whitetails, pigs, turkeys. I think there's a skunk. I mean, you name it. We got all sorts of different targets, and we leave a bunch of block targets out there too. There's a set at 20, set at 30, and a set at 40, just for guys that are trying to sight in.
So you got the 3D range. Do you guys got leagues there? I'd assume.
Yeah, we run leagues. We've got winter leagues. Let's see, those ended about it was about a month ago. And then right when we come out of Winter League, right now we've got Cricket League.
What's Cricket League?
It's like cricket for darts.
Okay.
Oh, that's
nice.
cool.
Only it's a big printout target of a dartboard, and then you shoot in teams with your bows.
That's
That's
awesome.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that. That's really cool.
It's fun. It's addicting. You know, paper. It seems or sounds so boring, but then once you actually start shooting and you make a game out of it.
Oh,
It's
competition.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that
Absolutely.
a common thing in archery, or is that something unique to you guys? I've never heard of it, but
It's, you know what? I couldn't actually really tell you because I never heard about it either until I started going there, years ago more frequently.
okay.
And ever since, you go to other shop, and I don't really go to too many other shops, but if I go up north, you go into a shop, I never see it. And most of my buddies that I hunt with, we always go to the shop anyway, so it's, we know it. But I don't know.
We'll go ahead and say you guys are the creators of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go with that.
We'll go with that. We like that. It's gotta be pretty chill working at an archery shop. I've always wanted to do it. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you get to do what you love. You're always talking to people about hunting and fixing bows and selling bows. Can't beat it.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
How did you personally get involved in the archery shop?
Well, I've been going there. Oh man, since they opened, since 2010, and I had a few other jobs, and it just kind of worked out. I was in between jobs, and just kind of needed something for the time being, and they were looking for a guy, and they knew me pretty well and wanted to bring me on, and I started working there, and I'm just sticking to it.
Nice.
There you go.
It's awesome that's around like your passion too. Like I'm sure like, at first it was probably like, oh, it's another job, and then all of a sudden you get there and it's probably like, I mean, I think it would be something that's super satisfying for me just to be around something that you love all day long. It's got to be really cool.
Oh yeah, you never really feel like you're working.
For sure.
There's only a few of us at the shop, and we all hunt together. We all go on trips together, and
It's a family.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a family.
Very cool. So you guys also do a kids mentor program, is that correct?
Yeah, you got it. It's called the Kanati Club.
Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
The Kanati Club. I like that name.
Yeah, Kanati Club, and it's kind of funny. We were sitting down trying to think. It used to just be Whale-Tales Mentored Hunt program, or something like that. And this year, before our turkey hunt, they're like, we need to actually make a name for this. And everyone's like, well, what's in this language, what does arrow mean, or what does archery mean? And Kanati, actually, I just Googled it, and Kanati is the Native American word for mentor of the hunt.
Nice.
Cool.
Like, perfect. I'm like, that'll work. We'll use this one. And everyone liked it. So
That's awesome.
Kanati Club it was. And it's been around for, I think this was our 5th season this year, running the hunts. And it's, in the beginning when we started it, it was more trying to get youth involved. And it was successful. It's real easy to find kids that want to hunt. And the more we've done the hunts, and just the way society is,
Mm-hmm.
we want to try to get more people. We're all myself and you guys, we're all considered millennials, whether you want to look at it as a negative or a positive. We're millennials, and there's not all the millennials, probably more than half of them aren't like myself or you guys.
Right.
And they maybe didn't come from a hunting background, and hunters and anti-hunters can fight as much as they want in battle, but there's a real large majority of people that don't hunt, but they're not anti-hunting.
Right.
There's that in between, and it's just that they don't dislike hunting, they don't hate us for being hunters, but they don't have anyone that can get them into it.
It's that opportunity.
Exactly. So we've been trying to kind of focus on that group, and it's hard to I don't even know what the word would be. It's hard to find those people, I guess, or try to reach out to them, it's easy for us to get people at the shop, or, you go to deer and turkey expos and you find kids, but it's hard to find people that are our age.
Yeah.
That want to get into it.
I think that was like one of the most attractive parts of having you on the podcast is we knew you guys had a need, and we talk to people all the time that are like, hey, we listen to your podcast. Hey, we know you guys hunt. Like, we've seen videos, whatever. We're really into hunting. Like, how do we get started? Like, and we're trying to answer these questions, but you guys have this a program like this where you guys can educate them properly on hunting, how to use the equipment, how to get started. And I think that, I mean, you guys have a really cool thing going right now.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. And it's a lot of fun doing it. And, it's a process setting it up. You start back in the winter, and we're trying to grow this to where it's not just a turkey hunt. Turkeys are easy just because they're vocal and they're fun to hunt. But we want to grow it into, some sort of a mentored learn to deer hunt, goose hunt, pheasant hunt, even fishing, anything to try to get people outdoors.
You guys drew a big crowd. I mean, I picked up my bow from you guys last year, and the kids started rolling in there at like 3:30, and there was probably 20-30 kids with their parents involved, and it was a cool thing. I was surprised to see that. Yeah.
If you come in right now, we don't have them going on, but we've got youth league, I guess you'd call it, on Saturday mornings. And it's cool to see all the kids, and there's still a bunch of them that come in with their dads, after school on weekdays. And there's a huge youth involvement in archery, and it's really cool to see.
You had talked about how it can be difficult to find those in-betweeners, like those kids that aren't anti or for it, they're just kind of sitting in that neutral ground. And we had talked about that a little bit in a previous podcast. We had discussed a little bit just the power of social media nowadays, because a lot of those younger kids are on social media now too, and they just haven't been immersed into, like, whether it comes to archery or just outdoors in general. And I mean, it's definitely there's definitely a huge opportunity to reach those guys on social media. And I know you guys have a social media page set up.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, it's still, there's a few people that still come in that are curious about it, but it's not a very big number, the guys that are those tweeners, I guess we'll call them. And it's tough because even now, with the youth and the archery, what's really cool is you've got parents that bring their kids because maybe they're not the most athletic, but they still want them to be involved in something. So, they focus on archery, and the kid likes it. And usually after, I'd say 9 times out of 10, a dad or a mom will bring their kid in, and they'll start shooting those leagues, and they'll get involved. And after about a month, that dad will come up to the counter and be like, you know what, I think I'm going to buy a bow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's nice.
Like every single one of them, I would say, probably is. And a lot of those guys too don't hunt.
Yeah.
So then it's kind of cool because you can get the whole family involved. And that's the one cool thing with our program is it's not just a youth, and that's where it's not really misleading, but so many places that have special hunts are for youth.
How many of those people transition from just archery into actually wanting to hunt and get out and harvest something?
It's not as many as you'd think. And there was a few people that were in our program this year. One of them was a girl that's actually a state champion target shooter. Wow. And she had never hunted but was interested and didn't even know. It was kind of one of those things where we paired her up with somebody, and we pretty much told the mentor, like, hey, she's pretty pumped about it. She's been practicing, but there's a chance that if a turkey comes in, she might not want to shoot. Like, she might decide that she doesn't want to kill something. And we told them, like, if you're not okay with that, we can, we'll pair them up with someone else, but just know. And they're like, no, that's fine. Like, if they don't want to shoot, they don't have to shoot. And it's all about the experience.
For sure.
And, our program is based, just like it says, learn to hunt. It's a mentor program. So it's not just for youth. We had 3 adults in the program this year. And it's all, like I said, it's all people that want to learn to turkey hunt. So say you're a diehard deer hunter, but you've never turkey hunted, you can be in the program. As long as you've never bought a turkey tag, you can be in the program.
So what exactly is the program? So is it like once, twice a year, and it's a turkey hunt? Like, where does it take place? Like, how?
Yeah.
Go into a little detail with that, please.
Yeah, it's once a year. Usually we have a class. So we get people signed up, or try to get them signed up in January. And we try to keep it pretty limited to like 10 to 12 people. And the only reason is it's pretty easy to find mentors, I guess you'd say, or find people that are interested in wanting to be involved. But it's hard to find mentors that are truly dedicated to it.
That know what they're talking about? Or
yeah, well, that, and it's, I don't know. I'm fortunate the way that I was brought up and in all the experiences I've had. I think that there's stages as a hunter, and I would say there's 3 stages. You know, when you start, and like all of us when we're kids, you get your license and you just want to shoot, and you just want to kill, and it doesn't even matter. I mean, how much you shoot chipmunks in the backyard, you shoot squirrels, you shoot raccoons, it doesn't matter. You just want to kill, or you want to hunt. And then from there it progresses, and you know, maybe you got land up north, you want to start managing, or you know, you start to manage more for turkeys would be tough, but deer, you know, you're managing for mature animals. And you know, a lot of people, there's some people that never even leave the first stage, you know, even at our ages.
100%.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that, nothing at all. And then you get to that second stage, and there's the management. And I know I'd be like this. I hunt a lot of public land, but a lot of people that I know that have private land, when they manage as hard as they do and put the money in and the time, those are, if you want to call it, their deer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they know those deer. They got trail cam pictures. They put in the work. Most guys don't want anyone else out there hunting them. And turkeys, like I said, is completely different. But then you get to that third stage where you get so much more enjoyment out of taking someone. And I think, you know, I'm fortunate, and a lot of the guys in the club are the exact same way, where they just love to take people hunting.
So do you guys supply all the necessary equipment when you guys do these programs and mentor?
Yeah, everything is supplied, and everyone's got awesome turkey hunting land, and it's kind of up to the mentors. It's the mentor's choice. Obviously it's archery, and it's the mentor's choice if they think the person, whether it be a kid or an adult, because we had a few kids this year. The one kid that I had was 10 years old.
Okay.
And he could only pull back 22 pounds on his bow.
Yeah.
Well, the law is 30, so he had to shoot a crossbow.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And yeah, it's up to us as the mentor. You know, there's a class. So I think this year was on the 10th. Everybody comes in, the DNR meets, and it's a 6 or 8 hour long class where they learn about turkeys, turkey anatomy, their behavior, what they can shoot, what they can't shoot. They learn about calling. They meet their mentors and get paired up. And then they go into our range, and we set turkey targets up. And we kind of go over, you know, what they learn in the anatomy. They've got little postcards, and they can see on that postcard where they should aim, depending on where the turkey is facing. And when they're doing that class, it's all up to that mentor whether or not they think that they could successfully kill a turkey with their bow.
So
and if they can't, then it's you know, the crossbow. And man, we've got more than enough crossbows for everyone to use. You know, if it came down to where everyone had to use a crossbow,
that's very cool.
They could.
Nice.
So this is so much more than just take them out, kill a bird. Like, this is an actual mentor program. Like, you guys you're teaching them from day one to the kill, everything that leads up to it, all the correct ways to do it. Like that. That's like the true definition of a mentor program.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, and it's cool because we get, like I said, there's a lot of work that goes into it, more than people think, and it's planned out all the way back in the wintertime, and once we get a set amount of mentors. And the other thing too is we have camera guys for every mentor and hunter. So every person has a camera guy in their blind.
You said you guys had 2 adults in the program this year?
Yep.
Do you find them having just as much enjoyment and getting thrilled and, like, they call it buck fever? Is there a turkey fever when you shoot one? I've never killed a turkey.
Oh yeah. It's funny because the one kid that I had this year, super nice little guy, and he came in, I want to say 3 or 4 times a week just to practice.
Dedication.
And he's a really laid back kid. Never really showed that much emotion with much of anything. And this, for the hunt that we had to pull turkeys off of private land. We didn't have a choice. And this spot that we were at, I've tried doing this multiple times and it never paid off. And the one other spot that I had that was a slam dunk kind of fell through, and the birds started using a different field that I couldn't hunt. So this was the only option. And I thought, man, this is really swinging for the fence for this kid's first hunt. This isn't the way I'd really like to do it, but it's all I had. And, we set the decoys, and we could, I'm sure we'll get into decoys later. And I can get more into depth with this, but we had his turkey, pulled him out of this flock, and he walked 100 yards to us. And the way we had the blind position, I was the only one that could see out the one window. And I'm like, all right, he's coming. Get set. Got the crossbow up on the sticks for the kid, and like, can you see the decoy we're at? And he's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's good. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, he's coming. And he was only maybe 25, 30 yards to my left, and he's just sitting there. The crossbow isn't even really on his shoulder yet. He's kind of looking out. And I'm like, buddy, click your safety off now and get that on your shoulder. I'm telling you, he's coming. He's like, okay. And he's holding it. And by this point, he's too close, so I had to leave the window closed. And it's only about a 10-yard tree line that we're sitting on. So he's coming out of a field. So I'm asking him, I'm like, do you see him yet? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, do you see him now? He's like, no. And then this thing was so close that I could hear him walking in the leaves. And from where he was, I knew he was like 10 yards. I'm like, do you see him now? He's like, no. And then before I could even get out, he goes, oh, yeah. Yeah. Like his mood just, like a light switch just changed. And it was cool to see that, because for as long as I've known the kid, like I said, that's just his personality.
Just no emotion.
You know what I mean? He's just, he shows a little emotion and he laughs and smiles a little bit, but he'd never been that, that hyped up or that excited.
That's very cool.
And, his turkey came in at 5 yards, and he put it right on him.
You got it? Nice. That's so cool. That's so cool. That's what it's all about right there. I'm sure he got a ton of enjoyment out of it, but I bet you got even more enjoyment out of it, honestly.
Oh, he shot, and it was a huge bird too. And the second he shot, I could see right where he hit it, and he couldn't have hit it any better. And right after he shot, the guy that I had for my camera guy was actually the guy that got me into the bow hunting. And I just looked at him, and I think him and I were fist pumping and just going absolutely crazy in the blind. And this kid's just kind of sitting there like, I don't think he even knew. He's only 10 years old. He didn't know what just happened. To him, he shot a turkey, but to pull that bird out of that flock, and it was incredible.
That's what it's all about, baby, right there. And then, I mean, he probably learned a valuable lesson with putting in that time 3 days a week, getting that shot perfect, and he makes a perfect shot and stuff like that. You gotta reiterate to him that, hey, you made a great shot. Like, that's that practice that you've been putting in and stuff like that. Like, that's.
Well, and this is what was really cool. So after he, right when he shot, I told him, I'm like, great shot. And the thing only went maybe 10 feet and died. And, we started cheering, and, I'm looking at him, and I'm like, how was that, man? How did that feel? And he's like, that was good. And like, you put a perfect shot on him. And he's like, yep. He goes, practice makes perfect.
That's awesome.
He knows it. You got it, buddy.
And that
you put your work in for that one.
No doubt.
Damn right he did. That he's going to go back to school now with all of his friends about his experience too.
Show him a picture.
Yeah, and hopefully he's able to get a few other kids involved and kind of just keep the cycle going.
Very true.
That's so cool. It's such a cool program. And like you were saying with the video stuff, like that's something that we got into a little late this year. I guess we missed it by like a week. We didn't realize that this whole program was going on. But if you guys need cameramen, whatever you need, mentors, whatever you guys need, we definitely are interested in helping you guys out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome because it's tough. Once you to have good cameramen, everyone that we've got is great, and then there's a few people where sometimes somebody drops out or somebody end up, they just can't make it, and they tell you 2 weeks before the hunt, and then you're scrambling trying to find someone. So yeah, that would help a ton.
Or even on the editing side of things, like we've all we got some pretty good editing gear and stuff like that, good programs, so we could definitely help out there too. So that's something that I'm sure we'll talk about after the podcast a little bit. So
yeah, absolutely.
Let's get a little into the turkey hunting. You've been talking about it a lot, and you obviously have a ton of experience in it. Before the podcast, we were talking a little bit, and you said you've been turkey hunting since you were 12?
Yep, you got it. And I learned at a mentor program.
That's
nice.
Full circle, baby. Full circle.
Yep.
So where did you start hunting? Like where in Wisconsin?
So I did my Learn to Hunt program just down the road right in Waukesha. And like I said, I was 12 years old, and it was public land. And the way that this mentor program worked is it was the same weekend as the Wisconsin State Youth Hunt. So I went out, and my dad was able to tag along, which was huge too, I think, because my dad was just a pheasant hunter. And prior to this program, neither of us even knew that you could hunt turkeys. So we did this program, and I'll never forget. I had a shot at, I wouldn't even know if I'd call it a shot. I had 3 Jakes come in, and the way that this guy had hunted, we didn't have any decoys out, and the Jakes started to kind of skirt, and he's like, well, he goes, if you want to try, now's your chance. And it was through a bunch of brush, and I was a 12-year-old kid with a 12 gauge, 3.5-inch number 5 turkey load. And I tried shooting through those trees, and I didn't get one. I missed them. And then I went 2 years. Oh, let me think. 2 years in a row where I never even shot a turkey. And I hunted them pretty hard. And it was like after that second year that I'm like, dude, I gotta start learning more. And I didn't have anyone to teach me because my dad didn't know anything about it. So for me, it was, and for all my buddies, nobody that I really knew was big into turkey hunting. So it was a lot of just watching shows and talking to guys at trade shows and learning what I could on the internet or TV. It just kind of snowballed into, that's my absolute passion now is turkey hunting.
I'm sure if there was, a mentor program put in place that kind of like what you guys got going on right now, but for like that anyone could join, that where you talk to people from the shops, people that are experts, like you probably could have made that jump a little quicker than having to, watch TV, watch all this, all the stuff that you just said.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that was the thing, it was nice having the program. It was at a gun club. So it was nice having it there, but after that was done, it's not like I could just go to the gun club and talk to someone about it.
Right.
Where at the archery shop, if you had a question, pretty much anyone that's a mentor or camera guy there is a regular there. And if you came in anytime after 5, we had 11 cameramen and hunter or and mentors this year. If you came in anytime at 5 on a weekday, half of them are probably in the shop.
That's awesome.
So if you had a question on something, you ask away.
That's good to know.
When you started that, when you first started hunting turkeys and you went through that mentorship program, was that strictly shotguns?
I don't think it was strictly shotgun. I think if I really wanted to, I probably could have used a bow. They just kind of push shotgun.
Okay.
When you typically go out turkey hunting now, are you typically using the bow, shotgun? What are you using?
So I work at an archery shop.
Hey, I gotta ask.
There is something about shooting a turkey in the face with a shotgun that just seems right.
Okay.
I've done it with a bow. I've killed one with a bow. It's cool with a bow. But like I said, I go back and forth every year. You can ask anyone at the shop, in the wintertime, I'm like, you know what? I think, maybe I will kill one with a bow this year. And it's already, I got to wait 3 weeks till my tag, but already it's like, nah, I'm using a gun.
You already know.
Yeah, I'll use a gun. Like I said, there's just something about it that just seems right.
So how do you choose the spot that you're going to hunt in?
Well, it all depends kind of on how you're going to hunt. So if you're going to bow hunt them, there's a ton of scouting you got to do. And you got to know, mainly you got to know where they're roosting and where they're feeding. So where they're sleeping at night in the trees.
Okay.
And then what fields are coming out to feed in. And you can either get in between those 2 points or you at least be in the field that they're feeding in.
I tried that. It didn't work. I've turkey hunted 3 times and I've never had any luck. I'm at that point where I need the mentor.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you learned something from this.
I'm
He's
listening.
learned a lot. He's asked one question. He's been listening the entire time.
I'm all ears right now.
Yeah. My absolute favorite way to hunt them, like I said, I use a gun, so sitting in a blind isn't bad. I don't mind sitting in a blind if it's raining or if it's nasty weather, but if it's a nice day, I can't sit in that blind probably past 7:30 in the morning. Like once turkeys fly down from their roost, if they're not coming towards you, you can sit there and wait all day. And yeah, you might get one or they might loop around and come back through you. But once they fly down, I like just playing cat and mouse. You just try to cut them off.
That sounds more fun.
Yeah, I actually just went turkey hunting for the first time this past season, and that's what I did too. We sat in a blind for a while, and we could hear toms in the distance on the edge of the property, and we're like, all right, let's go get them. And I gotta say that was head over heels way more exciting. I mean, my heart was pumping. We got within probably 60 yards of one, right on the edge of a field line. And I actually started to try to belly crawl out to it because I had a crossbow and I wasn't going to take that shot, obviously. And this thing was heading across this field to the edge of the property, and I knew I wasn't going to get a chance. So I grabbed our little Jake decoy, and I just started skull dragging across the ground with the decoy in front of me. I knew it was do or die at that point, so I just tried to go after it. I got close too. I almost got a shot at it, but I think I spooked it.
You can tell you're talking to some expert turkey hunters here.
Dude, I'm telling you that. So, well, you're going to like this story then. So I have a little strutter decoy too. And there was another field. This was 2 years ago. There's another field that it was actually public land and it was a lot of grass. It wasn't even a field. And there was another little buffer tree row about 10 yards wide. And then on the other side was a private field. And every single day they're in that private field, about 30 turkeys. And since I was 12, my dad, we would go past that spot and I would try my damnedest to trick one of those turkeys in that field and call it over. And it would never happen. It would never happen. They would gobble every time you called at them, but you would never pull one over. And after about 4 years of doing that, my dad, every time I'd say, take me over there, he's like, no. He goes, you're wasting your time with that. And finally, I guess it would have been, 2 years ago, I was talking about that spot to him, and he said the same thing. You're wasting your time. And I told him, yeah, but if I kill one there, it is going to be a giant because they never really get hunted. And I hunted on a spot down the road, didn't hear or see a turkey all day. I hunted all day until about 5 o'clock. I had 45 minutes left to hunt, and I pretty much threw the towel, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, do what? I'm going to drive past that field because at least I'll see turkeys. Maybe that'll make me a little happy. And sure enough, drove by, and they're all out there. Well, then once they were there, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to call one across. Only got 45 minutes. It was the last day of my tag. And I grabbed that strutter, and I started crawling through the grass. And I only got 50 yards from the car. And I looked, just to peek in the field, and I kind of knelt up, and I had the decoy by my head just to hide me a little bit. And all of a sudden, the hens that were in this flock were right next to me, like 25 yards right on the other side of this tree row.
Wow.
I was like, holy crap. And I looked behind them, 100 yards probably back, there was 5 toms all strutting. And right as I picked up with that decoy, all 5 of them went out of strut and had their heads straight in the air like they were alert. And I'm like, I got down, and I'm thinking, great, already blew it. And I'm like, well, there's nothing else to do. So I started kind of peeking up again, and there was only 4 turkeys. They're all strutting, but there's only 4. I'm looking around. I'm like, well, where the hell did the 5th one go? And I looked around one tree, and he was on a dead run coming right at me. And I was like, oh, my God. I pegged the decoy in the ground. With one hand, I'm holding the turkey. My right hand, I quick flipped my safety, and I was underneath the decoy on the ground with the gun, and he cleared into the little wood line. And the only way I could tell which way he was coming under the decoy was all I could see was his feet. And it got to a point where he was crossing. There was a crotch in a tree, and I'm not kidding you when I say it was 5 feet in front of me. And that was the only time I could shoot him. I shot him at 5 feet with a 12 gauge.
Just blew it up,
all the way across the field.
Was it the biggest turkey you shot?
Yep, it was 28.5 pounds.
Wow.
Damn.
Yep,
Nice.
it was an absolute giant. Actually, I got it mounted.
That's awesome.
That was one thing I always said I wouldn't mount as a turkey, just because you end up killing so many of them. But yeah, that one, that one's big enough, and there's a story behind that one because I've hunted that field for 10 years.
That's very
props to the guy who mounted it because you shot it. I shot it with a 12 gauge from 5 yards away.
But yeah, moral of that story: don't ever be afraid to try sneaking up on them, hiding behind a decoy.
That's cool.
That's the only way I'm gonna do it now.
Yeah. Have you ever seen those? I forget what they're called, but it's like
Gobbler guillotines.
No. It's like the fan, and you hide behind it. You drop the fan when the tom comes in. You ever seen that? What are those called?
It sounds like a freaking cartoon.
Yeah.
You stand behind it, and when the turkey comes in, it charges you, and you drop it right at the last second. It's very similar to basically what I just heard from you.
Yep. Huh. Yep. I can't remember. There's a whole bunch of them now. There's a Mojo Scoot and Shoot. There's an actual company I think it's called Turkey Fan, and it's literally half of an umbrella.
Okay.
And it looks like a turkey. It's huge, but it doesn't work all the time. But you find a bird that's in the right mood, and they'll come to it.
That's cool.
The process is I always say the process is the majority of the fun. I mean, just the experience of trying to stalk a turkey was pretty awesome. I definitely recommend it, for these guys to try it. I know Cam got a shot at a turkey this past spring, right?
It was last fall. I typically use the bow. Got the Matthews Adrenaline. Actually, before we even go into the story, what kind of bow do you shoot?
You're not going to want to know what I shoot.
It's a Hoyt?
No, it's a Matthews Triax.
Okay, all right. Hey,
I shoot the new one.
There's nothing. You work at a bow shop. I'd expect you to shoot the newest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this last year, I kind of normally I use a typical broadhead, typically make a good shot at them. But this year, it wasn't the worst shot in the world. It was a decent shot that I should have made, but thought I made a good shot on it. Ended up flying off, and I lost it. I couldn't find it, which kind of sucks. But and I got it on film too, so that footage may never get released, or it may get released after this podcast. Now that we just talked about it, it wasn't supposed to come up, but apparently my brother thinks that it's funny to bring it up. No, that's one of the worst feelings. We're laughing about it, but when you practice really hard and you get an opportunity at an animal, I'd much rather just completely miss it. And unfortunately, I connected and couldn't find it. And it's just one of the worst feelings. Your heart just drops. It's shit. The
first deer I ever got shot, and we trailed blood for hours, and we just couldn't find it, and it was miserable. I felt so bad. I could tell my uncle was I was young, but I could tell my uncle was bummed out and stuff, and I was just like, oh God, I messed up.
And it's I got a personal rule of mine that whether it's deer hunting, turkey hunting, whatever, if I shoot something and I can't find it, I shot my deer, I shot my turkey, I'm done for the season. In my eyes, you get one opportunity. If you screw up, that's on you. Then you go back, you practice a little bit more, and you try to be better. You try to make that shot next time. But I think a tag is one connection, and that's it. So
you might be alone on that.
Turkey hunting is turkey hunting is so hard with a bow. It really is, because your vitals are probably the size of a baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And they shift by the way they move.
Oh yeah. If they're in strut or they're out of strut, yeah, their vitals completely change.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many feathers. You got 4 inches of feathers if they're in strut on top and then on the chest.
Do you stand any chance trying to stalk a turkey with a bow? Because when I'm in my tree stand, I play with them a little bit in fall, and they're like little radars. They see everything, every little movement they keen in on big time.
Yeah, well, one thing you have to think of, and I thought this too, you always think, oh, I'm going to sit, if I sit in this one deer stand, they walk by here all the time. It'll be so easy to shoot them from in a tree stand. Since, when turkeys are little, their biggest predator is a hawk or an eagle, or, even maybe an owl. So their prey is always or their predator, I should say, their predator is always from above. Now, granted, there's coyotes and other things too, but they're used to looking up. So for you to be in a tree stand, it's actually harder.
That makes
I found
sense.
at least it's harder to shoot them out of a tree stand than it is on the ground.
I completely agree. I've shot them on the ground. I've shot them up in tree stands, hands down. Like, it's crazy. Like, the littlest of movements from up in a tree stand, they just pick out. And that makes sense now that you said that. I never knew. I never put 2 and 2 together, but that makes complete sense, because like the littlest movement they just pick up on. It's crazy.
Yeah, their eyesight is phenomenal. Well, they say if they could smell like a deer, they'd be almost unhuntable.
I believe it.
So yeah, they're a smart critter.
Dude, and I heard somewhere, I don't know if this is true or not, but heard somewhere that they're since they're obviously really skittish birds. They're always they're paranoid. They're always alert. That actually a lot of them actually have strokes. Like they get. I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard from somebody that someone actually died from strokes just from just being so anxious all the time. Have you ever heard that before?
I have heard that. Yeah, I haven't looked into it so much, like as far as studies go, to know if it's true or not.
Okay.
But yeah, I've heard that.
If they're so skittish, why are we able to pop up a blind in the middle of a field or on a field edge and they walk right in, whereas a deer, they see it and they stop and stare at that blind for 5 minutes before they walk out? Why do turkeys just stroll right into a decoy 5 yards away? And
I wish I had a really good answer for you that sounded awesome, but I don't.
Fair enough.
They don't care. I don't know what it is either, and I always laugh too. And for our mentor hunt, guys were putting their blinds out 2 weeks ahead of time and brushing them in and trying to make them look invisible. And they'd ask me, "Oh, did you put your blind out yet?" I'm like, "No, I'll do it the morning of."
I spent like 4 hours brushing my blind in the first year I did it, and ended up pulling it within 10 minutes because the turkeys, like you said, went the opposite way. And
yeah, well, and like we just said, for whatever reason, they don't care. I've put a pop-up blind in the middle of a cornfield with the decoys 5 yards in front of it, and had them come right in.
You think it's just the movement? I kind of think
it is.
It's just the movement. They're always just looking for movement. Like they're always focusing on whatever's moving. It seems like that's the direction their head's facing, their eyes are moving. Like it seems, at least in my personal experience, that it's always movement. Yeah,
and because like we just said, their eyesight is so good that I can't. It's not like they think it's a hay bale.
Mm-hmm.
They have to know. Obviously, they just don't know what it is, but it's not moving, like you said, so they don't see it as a threat.
I think elk are kind of the same way too, because I've seen like hunting shows and stuff like that. I've never been elk hunting, but I've seen like hunting shows and stuff like that. That when they're bow hunting elk, as long as you stop and you could be behind the smallest little sapling, and they just don't pick you up. As long as you're not downwind of them, they just don't pick you up. It's solely movement.
Yeah, it's all that movement.
Mm-hmm. So how does the hunt change, if at all, from like spring to fall?
Come fall, I don't do a ton of fall turkey hunting.
Oh, okay.
But this is going to sound bad. Here's the reason why. It's a lot like deer hunting. It's a lot of scouting. You just got to know where they're coming to feed, and you don't even have to run decoys. You just put up a ground blind and you sit and you wait.
Just pray for the best.
Yeah, pretty much. You know you know that they're going to come there.
They got their
eventually.
pattern. You just pattern
and you
them.
know they're going to come down this trail out in this field, and you just wait. And there are some guys, and another tactic you can use if you're good with a call. There's a sound called a kiki run, and it's this high pitched whine, and the babies or the young hens or even jakes make that noise when they're looking for their mom. So the other way that you can do it is in the fall when they're all flocked up. If you do it right, you can just run right through the middle of a flock and scatter them so that they go different directions. And then you can set up with one of those decoys and do some calling, and you'll pull some of the birds that are coming back trying to find the other birds that were in the group.
That's crazy. I've never even heard of that. That's actually crazy.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, that'll work too.
Wow.
So we made that Instagram post and had a couple people comment, and we got some questions from some Instagram fans.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit you with a couple of them real quick here. From Genuine Draft Draftstrom. That's tough. What's your take on shooting for the vitals versus headshots when hunting with a bow?
So, I'm a huge advocate of shooting them in the head, and only reason being, just like the story you had, there's a lot of room around the vitals on a turkey, and there's nothing worse than hitting them or wounding them and not being able to find them. If you shoot for the head, you either kill them or you don't.
Right.
You're either if you use those guillotine heads, you're either cutting the head off or you missed.
Okay.
So you'd recommend using, this was his next question, what kind of broadheads are the best for each situation? You'd recommend like a guillotine, obviously, for the headshot if you're going for a head.
Yeah, guillotine. Magnus makes one called the bullhead. That's a good one. The guillotine was one of the first ones that ever come out, and the design on them isn't bad, but I mean you're talking it's like almost, I think it's like almost a 3-inch, like a 3-inch cutting surface total. So those blades take up a lot of room, it's inconvenient because you can't put them in a quiver.
Mm-hmm.
So Magnus has one. It's the same deal, but they give you, I guess they don't give them to you. You got to buy them, but they're little adapters that can fit over the head and then pop into your quiver. And then there's actually a new one that Muzzy made. It's called the Muzzy More, More, turkey head. And it's the same concept. You head shoot them, but it actually collapses so that you can put them in your quiver.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
it's open. It's not an expandable. You open it up prior to shooting.
Yep. You open up prior to shooting. So once you get in your blind, you can take all 3 of them out if you wanted and open up. And that's the cool thing with gun hunting. It can happen too, but especially bow hunting. If you shoot them in the head, if you've got more than one tag, like you can buy your leftover tags in Wisconsin for the last week or even sometimes 2 weeks out. And a buddy and I do this for up north. We buy 2 tags a piece, and we go up north for the weekend and we turkey hunt. And if you shoot one in the head, and like I said, they can happen with a gun too if they're in the right mood, especially with a bow though. If 3 of them come in or 2 of them come in and you guys both have a bow, one guy shoots one in the head, he's going to die right there and start flopping. And for whatever reason, they've got a natural instinct. It's like a dominance thing. Once one is wounded, they try to either kill it or they jump on top of it so that they become more dominant.
No shit.
And then that other person in the blind gets another shot. You can kill both of them.
Turns into the 2-for-1 special.
Yeah. So that is one thing with a bow that is nice. Like I said, it can happen with a gun, but it happens a lot with a bow.
Wow, I did not know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So Genuine Draftstrom came with the heat. He had a third question we're gonna hit you with here.
Mm-hmm.
He was also wondering what your go-to recipe is for wild turkey.
Yeah, I actually dip them in egg. I'll take egg and beat it and then mix it with some milk, and then dip it in that. And then I actually, rather than bread it in flour, I bread it in pancake mix.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
Aunt Jemima's?
Pancake mix. Yeah, actually, that's what I use. That's exactly what I use. And
awesome.
drop them in a deep fryer, and once they're gold, they're done. And yeah, it's awesome.
That sounds great.
That
does
actually
sound great.
This year we're gonna try that recipe, and We'll send you a little video of how it turns out. We aren't very good cooks, but we like to think we are. It doesn't sound like we can really screw that recipe up too much because we already have Aunt Jemima's. Adam's got some eggs on his farm that we can steal and some milk.
If we use that air deep fryer upstairs, it's not going to work.
We have an air deep
Probably not.
Our air deep fryer is the worst
I've
thing in the world.
heard people hyping those up, and they're like, "Oh, they're the best." And I was like, every time we've used them, it's been a freaking mess.
They're good
terrible.
for like chicken tenders maybe. I think that's pretty much chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, and French fries.
Yeah, we've tried everything.
We tried fish in there. Oh my god,
sticks.
fish. We caught some walleye one weekend, threw them in the air deep fryer, and it was a mess. It was a mess. It was bad.
I almost threw the freaking thing out. It
So-
wasn't worth cleaning.
So we got
I would recommend that for the turkey. Go old school.
So we got another question from an Instagram fan. From Gold Tines Outdoors. We have what type of turkey loads do you prefer?
I try to kind of, I guess, explore the turkey load world every few years. But the last few years, I've just been shooting Winchester. Winchester Double X. And believe it or not, now the last 4 years, I started using the same 20 gauge youth model pump that I had when I was a kid. And I've killed a bunch of turkeys with that. It's just lighter, and it's just easier to carry when I'm running and gunning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just shoot a 20 gauge 3-inch number 5. And if you were going to shoot a 12 gauge, I would just shoot a 12 gauge 3-inch number 5.
Okay.
And the turkey load industry this year, Federal came out with a load called TSS, and it's a tungsten super shot. So I'm not sure exactly how much heavier or denser it is than lead, but I know it's quite a bit. And there was a company that came out with this a few years ago called Apex, and a lot of hardcore turkey hunters were actually making it themselves. The stuff isn't cheap, but they're actually making it. It's so dense and heavy that they can make it in a 9-shot.
Dang.
And with the wad and everything like that, there's guys that are shooting 20 gauge 3-inch 9-shot of this stuff, and they're holding a pie plate size pattern at 50 or 60 yards.
Wow.
Oh, that's intense.
Is that so now is that available at like Cabela's and or is that just where can people pick that up at?
The Apex ammo is all online, and they're already sold out of everything.
Wow.
Federal finally came out with their own version of it. I think they just call it Federal TSS Turkey Load. And they came out with it this year. I know when I was up at Cabela's, they had it. This was like a month ago, right when they first started stocking everything. They had it up there, but it's like, I want to say it's like $45 for, 10 shells or whatever it is in those small little boxes.
Dang.
So it's not something you'd want to buy a bunch of, but when you're turkey hunting, usually you shoot
hopefully
2,
once.
maybe 3 shells just to kind of pattern it to know what your range is. And after that, you're golden. But yeah, if you really wanted to get technical with turkey loads, you could look at that TSS. But there's a part of me too where it's like, it's kind of like the crossbow industry. They keep making them faster and faster, and people are shooting out to 80 and 100 yards. It's like, it's basically like using a rifle.
Yeah.
And ideally, you're really not getting that ethical of a shot at that range with a crossbow. Not saying with the shotgun loads you're not, but the way I look at it, I put so much thought into scouting and decoy placement and everything else that if I can't call them in and get them to the decoys or within shooting range of at least 30 yards, he won.
Yeah, you want to feel comfortable with that shot for sure.
Yeah. I mean, 70 yards with a shotgun, that's a poke. I couldn't even imagine 70 yards that their heads are so small to be able to hold steady at that distance. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's out of control.
Also, we have a second question from Gold Tine Outdoors here.
Mm-hmm.
What are some must-have turkey hunting accessories?
My favorite one, if you're gonna gun hunt, and you can do it with a bow too. For the gun, Hunter Specialties makes it's not really a knee pad, but it's a little, I don't know what you call it. It's a little strap-on. I guess it's a little strap-on pad that goes over your knee, and it's actually notched in the top.
Okay.
and it holds your gun. So if you're sitting on the ground, which, 9 times out of 10, if I'm running gun hunting, I'm going to be sitting on the ground. You got your left knee up, and I can leave this, the front stock of my gun in that little groove, and then still have it kind of pinched in my shoulder, and then I've got my hands free. That, and then just the weight, or the weight of the gun resting on your knee. If you leave it there for a long time, it just gets uncomfortable.
For sure.
This is like, I think they're like maybe $10, and I keep 2 of them just in case I lose one in the woods. That's probably my favorite piece. When it comes to camo, you can run anything for camo. A good turkey vest is nice, or at least a good seat so you can sit longer. But yeah, that little knee piece is probably my favorite.
That's
and
something.
Then for a bow, you need a bow stand if you're going to be in a blind. Just makes it more convenient.
Those are the little things that you won't learn on the Outdoor Channel. We got our expert Dave here, just dropping little knowledge bombs on everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and throughout the other thing, I'm sitting in my little I'll call it a turkey room at all my turkey hunting stuff right now. And the other thing that I actually use a lot is just like a pruning shears. I always keep a pruning shears because anytime you want to try to sit on a tree if you're running gun, you want it to be at least as wide as your body. Just because their eyesight is so good, you don't really want, or unless you have a really good backdrop, you want a tree that's about as wide as your shoulders, and it just makes it more comfortable. But so many times there's little shrubs or little things sticking up off the base of that tree to where it just makes it kind of a pain in the butt to sit down. And if you have a shears in your bag or in your vest, you can just pull it out quick and just snip a few things, and you'll sit a lot longer because it'll be more comfortable.
All about comfort.
That's right.
Hell yeah. All right, last question from the Instagram guys here. Mike Dre 25 wants to know, what turkey call would you suggest?
Turkey calls. I would, if you've never used a call before, the 2 that you probably should get, a box call and a slate call, just because of the simplicity. Box calls, most of them are all really loud, and they're meant to reach out. So that I don't really touch mine all that much unless I'm trying to locate a bird. If I'm hunting public land up north where I'm just going and I'm out there and I want to know if there's a turkey near me, I'll hit that just because it just carries so much farther. Or on a windy day, I'll use it. And then a slate call, again, it's just kind of simplicity. They make so many different surfaces now. There's aluminum, slate, glass. Just a simple slate is fine. Glass is all right too. You get into the aluminum, and that's loud. So if you're gonna buy 2, I'd probably get 1 box call and just 1 slate call. And then mouth calls, that's a whole nother world, because there's 2 reeds, 3 reeds, 4 reeds. There's so many different cuts: batwing cuts, mod cuts, split V cuts, ghost cuts. I think I love mouth calls. I really don't even I hardly touch a slate call anymore. I'm always just using a mouth call, and I had to learn all on my own. I didn't have anyone to teach me, and it's kind of a hard thing to teach. Luckily, there's a bunch of videos now on YouTube. But if you're gonna get a diaphragm call, I would say the one thing that I've learned, and I've probably owned or bought more than 50 or 60 diaphragm turkey calls. And the best way to do it is you buy a 5 or a 6 pack. If you're going to buy just any company, buy a 5 or 6 pack they give you, and you just try them. And usually there's one in that pack that will work for you. And then it sucks because the other 4 are pretty much garbage. And I learned last year that I just started using more of your specialty calls. So your guys that are making them themselves, not your big box store calls. And what's really cool, so actually the one that I'm using now is a Jeff Frederick championship call. And he's actually I don't even know how many he's won, but he's won a lot of Wisconsin State turkey calling contests. And he makes his own calls, and he has a booth at the Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expo, and he lives up north. But either way, you buy a call from a guy like that and you have a question, you just shoot him a message on Facebook.
That's cool.
And
Nice.
9 times out of 10, he's going to, well, I shouldn't even say 9 times. 10 times out of 10, he's going to message you back and try to figure out what it is you're doing wrong or what you need to change. And you even call him. You know, if you really can't get it, he'll even talk to you on the phone about it.
That's cool.
And try to get it to where if you were running, not bashing anyone, but say you ran a flex tone. If you bought 20 flex tones and you couldn't get them to work, you're going to have no luck calling Flexstone to ask them how to run a turkey call.
No doubt.
So I've learned that. I guess I learned that the hard way because I don't even know how much money I've spent in mouth calls since I was 12. It's ridiculous. But yeah, if you're going to get into a mouth call, I would definitely go with your, I guess you'd call them your specialty or custom calls, because you'll get help.
No doubt. We had this grand plan that we were gonna grab a couple mouth calls and have you judge which one of us were the best mouth callers, but we had a couple audio difficulties before this, so we weren't able to get those calls. But we got our buddy here, Adam. What we were gonna do is we were gonna have 3 of us use a diaphragm call, and then Adam use his own diaphragm to call him. So Adam, why don't you give him a turkey call and see if you think that we can get a turkey in with this call right here.
I think I could do this. I'm pretty good at animal calls from a wide base. That is.
There we go.
Let me get pumped for this one a little bit.
Now, are we gonna call it a turkey here or a chicken, Adam?
This one's gonna be a turkey.
All right, then give him the chicken. We'll see what the difference is.
I'm only good for one. Okay. I'm only good for one.
Fair enough.
That's a pterodactyl, bro.
It hurts the throat. I was practicing on the way over here.
Dave, are we gonna call in any turkeys and like that?
I will say this.
Don't be afraid
I did have a couple turkeys that are just down the road from my house at this resort, and I drive by them every single day just to see them. And you can do just about anything.
I've called some in
with my voice today, and they gobble.
I've been in a couple industrial parks where I've called some in, but they're also feeding them by hand. But I like to think it's going to work one day. I leave the calls at home and figure save some money. Don't worry about losing nothing in the woods.
Probably makes sense why you haven't bagged turkey yet.
Yeah. Moral of the story, Dave, is the Back40 boys need the dumb turkeys in order to get a turkey. So, Dave, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, learn more about turkey hunting, learn more about the archery shop, what's the best way to connect with the archery shop yourself? You guys got a website, social media?
Yeah, social media. Website's not bad, but we update social media way more. So yeah, if you wanted to get a hold of me, you can just go right on. You can just look me up on social media and shoot me a message and ask questions. Archery shop, we're always giving updates on Facebook. If we have leagues or certain deals we have going on, or we're always posting some tips and tricks.
So the social media, so like Facebook for just Whale-Tales Archery on Facebook.
Yep. Facebook. Yep. Whale-Tales Archery.
Instagram too.
Yep. You got it.
And then for yourself on Instagram, what's your handle?
What is my name on Instagram?
I think it's like Neil.
Nelly 3131.
There we go. I like that.
NELLIE. Yep.
That is classy. We like that. We like that a lot.
Yep.
Well, Dave, thanks for coming on the podcast. Honestly, like the amount of knowledge turkey hunting that you dropped on everybody was insane. Like you over the top. Like it was awesome. Really cool. The youth mentor program. Everyone make sure to check that out. If you guys have kids that are interested in getting into turkey hunting or hunting in general, make sure to check out Whale-Tales Archery. And just thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me and be able to talk turkey.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Have a good one.